The internet is buzzing once again, and this time the drama is louder than ever. Social media is exploding with speculation after fans claim that Kandi Burruss may have dropped some unexpected hints that some people believe point toward an alleged secret relationship between T.I. and Shekinah. Now, before we go any further, let's be clear, none of this has been confirmed. But the way the internet works, one tiny comment, one small reaction, and suddenly everyone thinks there's a hidden message waiting to be decoded. Clips are being replayed over and over, fans are analyzing Kandi's tone, her expressions, her wording, everything. It's like the whole situation turned into a mystery thriller overnight. People are asking, did Kandi know something? Was she trying to say something indirectly? Or is the internet simply doing what it does best, overreacting and connecting dots that may not even exist? But regardless of what the truth is, one thing's for sure, this rumor has sparked a wildfire of curiosity. So the real question is, what exactly did Kandi say that made fans believe this old controversy is being dragged back into the spotlight? Let's break it down. Kandi Burruss has always been one of those personalities who can shift the energy of a room without even trying. For years, fans have watched her navigate the world of entertainment with a mix of grace, confidence, and quiet power. Whether she's making music, producing shows, or speaking her mind on reality TV, Kandi has earned a reputation for being outspoken when she wants to be, and carefully observant when she doesn't. And that's exactly why, whenever she makes a statement, no matter how simple, people pay attention. They listen. They analyze. They decode. Sometimes a little too much. T.I., on the other hand, is a whole different energy. A giant in the world of hip-hop, someone who has spent decades building an empire of music, television, and business ventures. He's charismatic, influential, and always surrounded by conversations, some celebratory, some controversial, and some that never quite disappear no matter how much time passes. That's the nature of celebrity, especially when someone has been in the spotlight for as long as he has. Every move becomes a headline. Every friendship becomes a discussion. Every rumor becomes a spark waiting to ignite something bigger. And then there's Shekinah. Loud, emotional, funny, unfiltered, everything about her is big, bold, and hard to ignore. Over the years, she's built her own identity in the reality TV world, often bringing a mix of humor and chaos to whatever show or situation she's part of. She speaks with her heart, even when people wish she wouldn't. She reacts fast, she expresses dramatically, and she has absolutely no fear of saying what she feels in the moment. Sometimes that raw honesty makes fans love her. Sometimes it makes the internet explode. But one thing's for sure, Shekinah never blends into the background. These three personalities, Kandi, T.I., and Shekinah, have crossed paths many times through mutual friends, shared circles, and the interconnected world of Atlanta entertainment. And because of this, the fans who closely follow celebrity drama always keep one eye open, watching for the tiniest interaction that might suggest something more. Every laugh, every expression, every throwaway comment becomes a potential clue. Not because these celebrities create drama, but because the internet creates it for them. For years, small rumors and whispers have floated around social media about tension, loyalty, friendship shifting, and so-called behind-the-scenes secrets that fans claim to notice. Nothing ever proven, nothing ever confirmed, but always just enough chatter to keep people curious. Fans dig up old clips, screenshots, interviews, expressions, anything they can find to build a story, even when no story is actually there. And in this case, speculation around an alleged secret relationship between T.I. and Shekinah has been one of those recurring online theories that refuses to die. Not because anyone validated it, but because the internet loves connecting dots, even when those dots don't logically align. So when Kandi Burruss made a few recent comments that, on the surface, didn't seem dramatic, the online world went into full detective mode. People clipped specific moments of her talking, slowed them down, zoomed in, broke them apart, and examined every single syllable as if Kandi had intentionally hidden some kind of message between her words. It didn't matter that she wasn't naming names. It didn't matter that she wasn't pointing fingers, or confirming any specific situation. What mattered was the tone, the timing, the energy in her voice. And for fans who were already primed with past rumors in their minds, her statements felt like a spark hitting dry grass. Of course, Kandi's personality plays a huge part in this. She is not someone who throws accusations carelessly, nor is she someone who enjoys spreading chaos. She is known for her professionalism. She is known for being level-headed. So when she even hints at something questionable, fans automatically assume she's holding back more than she's saying. They think, if Kandi said this little bit, imagine what she really knows. And that assumption, fair or not, is what fuels the fire. Meanwhile, T.I.'s history of public attention adds another layer. He has been at the center of rumors and controversies before, many of which were exaggerated or completely unverified. So whenever his name appears in a new wave of online chatter, people instantly connect it to all the noise that surrounded him in the past. Even when situations are unrelated. Even when nothing has been proven. That's the burden of fame. Your past, your image, and your internet history follow you everywhere, even when the current conversation has nothing to do with reality. Shekinah, being the emotional and expressive personality she is, unintentionally feeds into speculation simply because fans find her reactions entertaining. Over the years, she's had conflicts with friends, disagreements online, emotional outbursts on live streams, and dramatic moments on camera that viewers still reference years later. So when her name gets pulled into a rumor, any rumor, the internet instantly assumes drama, even when her involvement is minimal or non-existent. And as all three of their names surfaced together in conversations again, the tension began to build, not because of anything they actually said directly, but because of the narratives fans created around them. It became a storyline written by the audience, fueled by assumptions and half-interpreted comments. A storyline where the characters didn't even know they were being cast. Some fans insist that Kandi's recent comments sound like a quiet warning or subtle exposure, like she's choosing her words carefully but hinting at something deeper beneath the surface. Others think she was speaking generally and the internet simply twisted it, turning an innocent statement into a coded message. And then there are people convinced that Kandi's tone alone proves she was referring to something specific, something she didn't want to say out loud but couldn't fully hide. This mixture of personalities, past rumors, fan interpretations, and emotional assumptions created an atmosphere of suspense without anyone actually confirming anything. The tension didn't come from the celebrities themselves, it came from the reactions around them. And in that reaction, a new storyline started to form. One that hinted at conflict, secrets, and something unspoken that fans were eager to unravel. A moment. A comment. A pause. A tone. That's all it took for the internet to believe that something bigger was happening, something brewing behind the scenes. Something that Kandi may have brushed against without meaning to, something that T.I. and Shekinah might not even be aware is being discussed, and something the world is now waiting to hear more about. What really sent the internet spiraling wasn't a confirmed incident, but the way one particular moment unfolded. It was small, barely noticeable, tucked inside a casual conversation, yet it carried a weight that fans instantly latched onto. Kandi had been talking about loyalty, trust, and the way people switch sides when it benefits them. She never mentioned names. She never pointed fingers. But the timing, the tone, the quiet pause before she continued, people said it felt too personal. Clips started circulating where fans overlaid imagined conversations, trying to piece together what they believed had happened behind the scenes. In these fan-created recreations, the tension was heavy, the air thick, as if someone had crossed a line that should have never been crossed. The internet filled in the blanks with their own theories, painting pictures of uncomfortable moments and whispered arguments. In one widely shared fan-made dramatization, people imagined Kandi sitting across from a close friend, voice low, sounding both disappointed and resigned. "You ever trust somebody," the imagined version of her said, "and then you find out they weren't where they said they were?" It wasn't real dialogue, just viewers crafting their own narrative, but the intensity struck a nerve. Another fan thread described a hypothetical scenario where Kandi looked down at her phone, reading messages that didn't add up, timelines overlapping, stories not matching, coincidences that felt a little too convenient. Again, none of this came from Kandi herself. It was simply the internet doing what it always does, building a movie out of silences. People claimed that in her real interview, there was a moment where she exhaled slowly, almost as if reliving a memory she didn't want to talk about. That tiny pause became fuel for 1,000 theories. Some viewers said she looked hurt. Others thought she looked fed up, as if she was holding back something she didn't want to ignite. And because the rumored secret relationship between T.I. and Shekinah had been floating around online for years, fans connected Kandi's emotional tone directly to that speculation. What really intensified everything was how fast those imagined scenarios spread. TikTok edits added dramatic music, shadowy filters, and captions like "This explains everything," even though nothing had actually been explained. On social media, people wrote threads where they reenacted the moment of betrayal as if it were a scene from a show, complete with dramatic monologues, emotional confrontations, and whispered lines like, "I can't believe you did this." In reality, none of these exchanges ever took place. Kandi never exposed anyone. There were no leaked messages, no confirmations, no direct call-outs. But the fans, fueled by speculation and old rumors, turned her calm statements into a cinematic turning point. And as these imagined scenes spread, the tension grew, not because of what Kandi said, but because of everything the internet decided she might have meant. The story took on a life of its own, and people were suddenly waiting for the next clue, even if there was never one to begin with. The fallout didn't begin with a statement, it began with a silence. After that interview clip went viral, the internet's reactions swelled like a rising tide. Comment sections flooded with theories, heartbreak, anger, confusion, and those dramatic slow-motion edits that made everything feel more explosive than it actually was. Fans weren't just reacting, they were invested. Every eye roll, every breath, every tiny hesitation from Kandi was treated like evidence of a deeper story. People started posting emotional reactions on TikTok. Some sat in their cars, whispering into their cameras like they'd just discovered a secret. Others filmed dramatic reenactments, clutching imaginary phones and gasping as if they were living through the moment themselves. The lighting was dim, the music was sad, and the expressions were exaggerated, but the emotions felt real to the viewers. They weren't responding to facts, they were responding to the possibility of betrayal. What really intensified everything was one clip where fans claimed Kandi looked hurt but holding it together. In the actual video, she simply paused to choose her words carefully. But on social media, that pause became cinematic. "This is the look of someone who knows too much," one fan wrote. Another said, "She was trying not to break." The clip spread with captions like, "When loyalty hits different," and "Her eyes said everything." Meanwhile, T.I.'s name started trending, not because he said anything, but because fans were tagging him in edits, demanding answers to questions he never asked for. Some users posted reaction videos looking directly into the camera, eyebrows raised, whispering, "Tia, what's going on?" as if he had personally walked into their living rooms. It didn't matter that nothing had been confirmed, social media was already writing its own script. Shekinah's reactions became another focal point. Fans dug up old livestream moments, clips where she was emotional about unrelated issues, and repurposed them as hints. A tearful expression from years ago suddenly became part of the alleged storyline. People added dramatic captions like, "She was trying to tell us," even though the real context had nothing to do with the situation. The emotional fallout grew heavier as fan pages began posting long threads about friendship, loyalty, and the cost of secrets. They weren't talking about real events, they were describing a story the internet had collectively built. Commenters wrote things like, "Even if it's not true, the energy feels off," or "Something happened, I don't know what, but something happened." It was less about facts and more about feeling. The deeper truth in all of this was simpler and quieter. People projected their own experiences, hurt, betrayal, misunderstandings, onto a moment that might have meant nothing. They took a pause, a glance, an emotional tone, and turned it into a movie scene. The fallout wasn't between the celebrities, it was within the audience, who reacted as if they were part of the story. And through all the noise, the same question echoed everywhere, not because of confirmation, but because curiosity had taken over. Was there ever anything to expose, or did the internet create a storm from shadows? In the end, maybe the real story here isn't about Kandi, T.I., or Shekinah at all. Maybe it's about the way we, as a community, react to moments we don't fully understand. One pause, one expression, one carefully chosen sentence can turn into an entire narrative overnight. And sometimes, without realizing it, we take real people with real lives and place them inside a story we've written ourselves. Before we run with a rumor or attach meaning to something that may not be there, it's worth remembering that these celebrities are human too. They feel pressure, they feel frustration, they deal with misunderstandings just like the rest of us. And sometimes, the internet's imagination becomes heavier than the truth they're actually living. So here's the question I want to leave with you. What do we gain when we assume the worst? And what might happen if instead, we chose empathy before judgment, compassion before speculation? Instead of trying to decode every breath or every silence, maybe we should step back and let people tell their own stories, when they're ready, if they ever want to. But the conversation doesn't end here. I want to hear from you. What did you take from all of this? Do you think the internet overreacted, or was there something deeper in Kandi's tone that made you pause too? Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk about it, respectfully, thoughtfully, and with an open mind. Because sometimes, the loudest drama isn't what's said on camera, it's the story the world creates in the empty space between words.